Raising Lazarus. Jesus often visited the town of Bethany, where his friends Mary, Martha, and Lazarus lived. Mary and Martha were sisters, and Lazarus was their brother. Once, when Jesus was preaching in a faraway town, Lazarus fell ill, and his sisters were very worried about him. In fact, Lazarus was so ill they thought he might die. "We must send someone to go and get our friend Jesus," said Mary and Martha. "He'll make Lazarus well again." But when the messenger found him, Jesus said, "Tell my friends not to worry. This illness won't end in death." So Jesus kept preaching and said he would visit Lazarus' soon. A few days later, Jesus told his disciples that the time had come to travel to Bethany. "Lazarus has fallen asleep," said Jesus, "and I must go and wake him up." But the disciples did not understand, so Jesus told them, "Lazarus has died." The disciples were very confused. "How does Jesus know that Lazarus has died?" they whispered to each other. "And how is he going to wake him up?" When they finally arrived in Bethany, they found lots of people at Mary and Martha's house. They were all very upset, and many of them were crying. The disciples asked someone what was happening, and they replied just as Jesus knew they would. "Lazarus has been dead for 4 days." When her friend Jesus greeted her, Martha was heartbroken. "If you had visited us when we asked you to, our brother would not be dead," she said. But Jesus told her not to worry. "Your brother will rise again, Martha," he replied calmly. Martha did not understand. She thought Jesus meant that Lazarus would be alive again when he got to heaven. So Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he dies, he will live again." Jesus wanted to speak to Mary about her brother too. When he found her, she was so upset about Lazarus that she was crying very loudly when she said, "If only you had been here." When Jesus saw how she was and how sad everyone else was as well, he was overcome with grief. He felt so devastated that he began to cry too. Finally, Jesus asked someone to take him to Lazarus' tomb. When he arrived at the cave, lots of people were gathered around it. Jesus asked his disciples to roll the stone out of the entrance. Martha gasped, as her brother had already been dead inside the cave for 4 days. But Jesus said, "If you believe, then you will see the glory of God." Jesus prayed, "Father, thank you for hearing me. Please help these people to believe that you sent me." And then he said, "Lazarus, come out." Mary and Martha couldn't believe what Jesus was doing. After all, their brother was already dead. But sure enough, as they peered into the entrance of the tomb, they saw Lazarus smiling back at them, alive and well. His sisters rejoiced, and everyone was very happy. Mary and Martha's brother emerged from his tomb, just as Jesus told him to, but he was still wearing his burial clothes. "Help this man take off these clothes," said Jesus. Finally, Lazarus' sisters could embrace him, and the saddest of days turned into the happiest. Martha and Mary's brother, who was dead, now is alive.